my driver's window door, when suddenly in front of me, like a vision from beyond, an apparition on the roadside appeared and then was gone. Saw something running fast. A primal fear came over me like a nightmare from the past.
From our compound, from the West Coast to the East Coast to worldwide, both on the internet and terrestrial radio, you're listening to Gary Anderson on Night Dreams Talk Radio After Dark.
And here I am, Gary, on Night Dreams After Dark on this nice Tuesday. Boy, the week is going to go by fast. I just feel that, James.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to next week anyway. We've got a lot of good shows lined up. And plus, starting the 15th, we're really taking adding another hour and another guest tonight. So that's going to be, it's going to be good.
Oh, yeah. And then we're going to have on top of each hour, 5 minutes of UFO and cryptic news, paranormal news every night. So you're looking, that's going to be 3 times a night. So that's going to be kind of cool. And then we're going to have Tobias Whalen giving out reports on cryptics once a week. And then we're going to have Ryan on giving us reports of UFOs, what's been going on with the sightings on that. So it's a lot of changes. And I can't wait to have 2 guests on. Our first guest will be on for an hour and a half. Then our second guest will be on for 1 hour. So, I mean, we're going to just cram the 4 hours with a lot of content that a lot of shows don't do.
Yeah, that's, you know what, you're absolutely correct. And, I'm looking forward to 4 hours. We've got weekly reports, like you say, on the cryptids and one on the UFOs. And, yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
I'm still waiting for my chocolate chip or oatmeal cookies from Karen Banks. She has never sent me any cookies. Now, what a way to have a relationship over the internet, and she has never sent me any cookies.
She played the old bait and switch on you. She got you all hopes all up for them cookies, and then they never showed up.
Oh, I just made all that up. I just did that. I just did that to frustrate her. But you know what? She goes out and finds all these medals and, all this weird buttons from World War I and all this stuff that people forgot about. And what they did with it, they just, after World War I, when they closed the base down, they just threw the stuff out in the lake and just left it there.
Yeah, that's bizarre. I've seen some of her pictures. She's got enough stuff to start a little museum. I mean, the way she's got them displayed nice in the cabinets and all. I've seen not as good as displays in museums like that. And, that's some good stuff. I've seen it.
Oh, yeah, she has a lot. I mean, she could actually probably start a museum. Hey, we have Sam out there, I think, right now. Sam, how you doing, my friend?
Oh, not too bad. How you all doing?
Well, James, how you doing?
I'm doing good. I'm going to have a little sip of Mountain Dew so I can turn green tonight.
You got to quit drinking that stuff. It's not good for you. You need to drink tea.
Yeah, I'm going to get some.
Yeah. A lot cheaper. Look how much money you could save for radio equipment for your studio.
That's a good point.
Yeah. I am disappointed. You know what I paid for these creepy mannequins and skeletons here? I should have waited to the day after Halloween. I could have saved a fortune.
Yeah, 70% off?
75% off.
Wow. Same with chocolate, probably, too.
Yeah, don't even mention that.
Okay.
Yeah, my wife came home the other day. Here's a bag of Reese bars, but don't eat them in one night, okay? I promise I won't. I ate them in 2 nights.
So what did you do? Start at like 11:55, and by 12:05 they were gone.
Well, they were the bite-sized ones, but I'd be sitting there working and doing my emails back to people, and they just say, "Eat me." So that's exactly what I did.
You just followed orders.
Oh, yeah, they told me to eat them, so I ate them. So, Sam, you got any news on anything about abductions or UFO stuff or that you can share with James and me and the listeners out there? All 3 or 4 of them.
All 3 and 4 of them. I'm just lucky to come up with 2 of them, I think.
Okay.
One out of Japan.
Well, what's the one out of Japan?
Well, there was a farmer, and he just happened to be snoozing, and there was some kind of light outside the building, and I heard a big slam outside of his door. So he opens it up, and there's this creature, kind of in a blue jumpsuit, but it's not the typical gray that you'd normally expect. It's kind of an octopus-looking being. And before you know it, he's in the process of being abducted against his will. So he's some kind of beam comes in there, and it tends to drag him out the door. I mean, he's scratching on the floor, and he's being sucked out the window. So it's like this beam, and I don't know how they do it. It's just some kind of anti-gravity beam of sorts gets sucked in towards the ship, which is up. It's not very far up, about 10 feet or so. And coming in close to the ship, and somehow he goes right through the ship. So he ends up in this large room. And, of course, there's always that reassurance, telepathically that we're not going to harm you or anything. But the survival instinct kicks in, so he bolts away from them, finds an opening of the ship, and is able to jump out. Unfortunately, the ship's not that high, so he's got about a 10-foot drop. Hits the ground running, takes off into the woods, eventually gets to his place or to a friend's. And, however, that doesn't stop there. Once they got your number, I guess in his case, they'd still come after him. So he ends up back at his house, but then he feels a vibration around his fingers, around something happens to him, and it's almost like he's being compelled to say, you need to show up at this location. We're not done with you yet. So he actually, gets in the car or whatever, takes off to where this is at, where they tell him to go, and he goes on the ship. And they examine him, and he goes for a little ride, and then he gets back off. So it's a pretty bizarre experience. And what gets me is that once they have you, it's hard to resist. You can get away from them, but somehow they figure out how to get you back. And then you got this time slippage thing. Usually they're able to cause you to forget what happened during the event that you're abducted and put you back where you're at. So that was a little bizarre. That this is a kind of an out there type of experience for this farmer in Japan.
It would be.
It happened some years ago.
But you know what, Sam? In a case like that, you get abducted and you're taken aboard a craft, right? Well, what are you going to do to get away? You can't get away. You are really SOL, because what are you going to do? They get you into a lab. They start experimenting on you. It's not like you can just go out the hatch and open the hatch and, step back out onto your property. You're out in space somewhere. I mean, they really got you, by the you-know-whats. It's scary. I mean, these people that have been abducted and they're coming out of the woodwork. People are been contacting me, believe it or not, like every day now, saying that they were abducted. I've never heard so many people being abducted that I've been hearing in the last couple of weeks. It's crazy. It scares me. that it's maybe so widespread that people don't realize what's going on out there.
Well, in the case of this Japanese person, it kind of ended where he claimed that on the last trip, and didn't end there. He actually ended up on the ship some other times, but they were doing something to them, caused him to have these strange kinetic powers that allowed him to move objects and bend spoons. So as time goes on, he's actually being changed. This is not the first time I've heard something like this. Something a little closer to home. I won't say who, but it is something I have a personal contact with that has claimed that he has ended up on a table. And the message, and he saw these beings, and some of them were gray aliens, but some of them were tall Nordic-looking beings. And the message he got was a reassurance that we're here to change your DNA. We're here to enhance you as a human and to give you, to make you better, make you stronger, make you fast. You know, it kind of reminds you of the Lee Majors thing, you know, back with the $6 million man. It's like, we're here to enhance the human condition. So, but then again, that's them saying it. You don't really know, you know, in the process of you earning these special abilities, and I'm not denying, rather, that this is actually happening. But what are you losing in the process? Are you losing some aspect of your free will that changes you so that you're basically submitting yourself to some other power and losing your ability to be independent? You know, that's the first thing that comes in my mind.
Well, it scares me because, you know what? What gives them the right to actually enhance you, not enhance you, implant you, or experiment on you? They just flatly don't have the right to just abduct people and do that. I mean, how many people, even if they got special abilities, maybe don't want those special abilities because, again, here's the problem. Your brain might not be able to adjust to it. I mean, you might function with those extra abilities, but what damage does it do to your thoughts when you go to bed at night or when you're thinking, you know, watching TV and all of a sudden these thoughts come in your mind? You don't maybe want to have those extra abilities because you might be special, but then it's going to bring on, you know, maybe some pain and remorse and sorrow later on having those abilities.
Yeah, it takes away some of the human experience and your definition of what you are as human. And I think there's a certain control factor that once you are changed, I think you are under control a little bit by entities that may be interdimensional. And sometimes I wonder if changing the DNA is for the purpose of better fitting you for possession. Now, I'm not sure how many in the listening audience actually believes in that, but it's a very real thing where spirit entities or interdimensional entities can enter into a body and actually inhabit someone. And it's not the first time I've heard this. I've actually read it in several instances of research. So it's a very real threat.
It is. You know, it just reminds me, like I said the other night and the night before that, the invasion of the body snatchers, where they actually create a new body to take over the original body. But what they're doing is changing their DNA, maybe giving you maybe extra abilities, but who knows what else it's tweaking with your brain. Maybe some of your thoughts are not the same. Maybe you're not the same lovable, compassionate person anymore that you were before. Think about that one.
Yes, and, you know, it's not the only individual. I know that he has gone up for an upgrade, basically, to the human condition. The one individual I personally witnessed that was doing some unusual things by means of telekinesis, from a distance at that, made me wonder,